SEC teams landing in the top 10, which is the most from a single conference since the CFP rankings began back in 2014. Not saying they're not deserving, but there are other teams that maybe should be in there. There you see the CFP bracket as it stands. First team out is Oklahoma, so that would be the sixth team in the SEC that would eventually be in if South Florida wasn't there as the highest ranked group of 5. Let's say hello to Paul Finebaum, who joins us now here on First Take. And Paul, I know it just means more in the SEC, but do you believe that 6 teams should really be in this field?
Before Mad Dog jumps out of his chair, Shae, it's possible. I'm not saying it will happen, but you just mentioned Oklahoma. What if Oklahoma wins Saturday at Alabama? That would be a very big win. Sorry, Mad Dog, but here's the one I know you're going to really be excited about. There's Vanderbilt, who could go 10-2, very, very deserving team. And then what about Texas? Let's say Texas loses Saturday at Georgia. It wouldn't be a bad loss. And then beats Texas A&M on Thanksgiving weekend, one of the top 2 or 3 teams in the country. That would give them a 9-3 record. And Mad Dog, think about this. They opened the season at Ohio State, as opposed to some of these schools who opened the season at Brooklyn High School. And you have to think a 9-3 Texas team wouldn't be bad compared to some of the other ones.
Yeah, the thing I would say there, Paul, welcome. Nice to see you again. The things I would say about Texas, you have 3 losses, Paul. You should not make the NCAA tournament in a football. You can't have 3 losses and get in, and that's a little much. Plus, they barely beat Mississippi State, and they barely beat Kentucky on the road. So if you're going to say, well, they almost played well against Ohio State, they barely beat Mississippi State and Kentucky on the road. So be fair. Be fair. Secondly, the problem that you have right now with this playoff structure, it's the SEC Invitational. Why don't you put all 12 teams in a freaking bracket, and we'll throw Ohio State in, so you have 11 SEC and Indiana. You have SEC, you got 10 SEC and 2 Big Ten. Isn't the idea to spread it around a little bit, to give a little diversity? Who wants to eat steak every night? How about going out there and giving some other teams an opportunity? And with so many teams in the SEC who Paulie thinks and everybody thinks are so deserving, and the commissioner, put 8 teams in. I mean, geez, enough. They play each other plenty. There should be a cap about how many teams can make this stupid tournament at the end of the year.
So how many
guys be crazy?
I will concede that it's a bad look, let's say, for example, being a bit hyperbolic here, if there's 12 teams in the playoffs and 10 of them were from the SEC. That's not a good look. That's not a good look. We understand that. The flip side to it is that if you're watching college football and you legitimately know that those teams are better than most of the teams in the country, come playoff time, we do want to see that, because you see somebody show up against a big SEC school and they get completely obliterated. That's not a good look for the college football playoffs either. And that's not what we want to see come playoff time in a playoff system. I'm looking at Texas. Let's also, and this is very unpopular, it's going to drive you nuts, doggy. You're going to lose it when I say this, right? But I'm looking at Texas, right, who I have not been that enamored with, okay? But their last 2 games over Mississippi State, Vanderbilt as well, Arch Manning is completing 68% of his passes, 674 yards, 6 touchdowns, and 1 interception. And dare I say, you know what I'm saying, when you're college football, you want the best teams, Paul. Please don't get me wrong. You want the best teams. You certainly don't want any programs get robbed. But you know what I'm saying? But you also want to see people that you want to see too. And don't think that that's not going to factor into the equation. They can act like it's not. But Texas jumping up because obviously BYU lost, and Texas jumps up into the proceedings now, right? Arch Manning being there, that don't hurt. That doesn't hurt. Now, we don't like to say it. We don't like to admit it. But damn it, people on television are the last people that get to deny it, because it's about ratings, okay? And you want to see stuff that people, you want to turn on your tube and see stuff that people actually want to watch. And that does matter. It does matter, y'all. We can't run from that.
Are you okay, Paulie, with a 3-loss team in the tournament?
Texas.
If it's Texas?
I'm not
okay with that, Paul?
Give me a break.
Yeah. I am okay with that, doggy. What I'm not okay with is your ridiculous statement from a minute ago. I mean, what is wrong with this country? Let's put a couple of people over here in. Let's put a couple of people. What about putting the best in? I don't see Major League Baseball. I don't see the NFL going, the Chiefs, they've been there too many times. Let's put the Patriots in. I mean, doggy, this is about to be This is supposed to be about excellence, not about being fair. This is not the little leagues where we give a second, third, fourth, and fifth place trophy. This should be the best. It's already a convoluted system because we let the group of whatever in, the group of 5 with South Florida, and they have no business. That conference, that division really has no business playing. That's like letting the AAA best team in to the Major League playoffs. It doesn't happen in any other sport, but for you to say, oh, the SEC has too many teams in, and this and that is just patently ridiculous.
Look,
I understand his point.
He does make a good point, Doug. He does make a good point.
Disagree.
Oklahoma and Texas, if they lose any more games, should not even be in this conversation.
Because
Paul brought up
Oklahoma cannot afford another loss.
No, and
at
he
all.
brought up Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt has no wins against teams currently ranked that you make a case
That's true.
for. Like, that doesn't even make sense. There are teams, Miami, Georgia Tech, that should move up in the rankings. I know they're in the ACC. It's having a down year in the conference, but two very formidable teams in college football.
Why Vanderbilt, Paul?
Well, I'm just saying that if the field is weak and Vanderbilt is comparable, but they are a good team. Just because they don't have a lot of great wins. But I'm more interested in Texas, Doggy. You say they shouldn't be in because they have 3 losses. Have you looked at Indiana's schedule? They played nobody in the preseason. I mean, at least Texas went to Ohio State, the defending national champion, and they played a 7-point game.
Yeah, I mean, again,
They could have played.
They did. I'm looking at Shae because she's looking at me all straight. I said they did struggle to beat Penn State, man. I mean, they didn't.
They're undefeated. They have no losses.
That's true.
All these teams we're talking about have losses and blemishes on their record.
We're not questioning that. We're just bringing up the point that Paul made in terms of their strength of schedule.
Sure, but they've won every test that they've been given.
Hey, Paul's right. They didn't play that big non-conference game to start their year. I understand his point, but undefeated is being undefeated. Right. But the better argument that Paul should have made, and I'm going to help him here, that he didn't make, Chris, you want to help all these teams? Well, SMU got a break last year. They played at freaking Penn State. They lost 50-10. Game was a disaster. Boise State played last year. Our buddy Riddick did the game with his shoes on New Year's Eve. I was in my pajamas at 8 o'clock watching it. And Boise State, who everybody thought they should have been in, they got killed by Penn State. That's the argument you should use, is the South Floridas of the world, the 4th place team of the Big Ten of the world, probably are going to get murdered in that tournament once it starts, and you're talking about eyeballs to TV games.
And because we're dealing with kids and supposedly amateur sports, even though this is the age of the NIL, transfer portal, and all of this other stuff, the bottom line is this. We want to see the big fish. We want to see the people we want to see. We want to see the people that we have an idea about. We want to see the teams that we know are legit. Come playoff time. College football players, we don't want some no-names in there, you understand, with an impressive record, but you didn't play any damn body, and the likelihood is that we know you'll get your ass kicked if you go up against somebody in the SEC. We don't want to see that. Come playoff time, we want competition. We want to see cats. We want to see some Rough Riders that's out there that we know are the elite teams that have bum rush anybody. That's what you want to see.
How many
I'm going to say 5. Now, last year they only had 3. I don't think it's going to 6, and I can't sit here and argue. But I just find your argument that because one school has 3 losses and the other one has 2 or 1, it's not that you have to look at what their body of work is. And I agree, Texas had struggled against Kentucky and Mississippi State in overtime, but they won both games. They also beat Vanderbilt, which was ranked in the top 10 when they played them. So let's not just equivocate here. But the person that actually bothered me the most in this conversation, I hate to say it because I'm a big fan, but Shae, undefeated doesn't equal greatness. I mean, I'd like to see Indiana come down to the SEC and go undefeated. It wouldn't happen.
Paul, I got to come to Shae's defense here in this regard. You have a point, Paul, if we're talking about 14 playoff or whatever, like Florida State a couple of years back, and they didn't get picked. Your quarterback goes down, and even though you're undefeated, you didn't get picked, and then you don't show up for the bowl game against Georgia and get slaughtered because you sent half your team to the NFL draft. Okay, we got that part. I understand that. But in a 12-team playoff, there's no way you could leave an undefeated team out of it.
No one's leaving Indiana.
There's no way.
Let's be clear. But if we're going to talk about the eyeball test, I mean, Texas did not look the part of an eyeball test like in the beginning of the season. They've gotten better as it progressed, but give me a break. I mean, Indiana is a fun team to watch, and they've passed every test that's been put in front of them. Undefeated is undefeated. You're not going to tell me otherwise. Sorry, Paulie.
I'm not saying they should be in. They're ranked appropriately. I'm just talking about just saying because one team is undefeated and another one has 3 losses that one is better than the other. The schedule does matter.
Sure. Texas barely beat Kentucky, too. Remember that?
And Mississippi State.
I mean,
Here's a team that's going to be very interesting, Paulie. Now, before you go, what if Michigan, that has done nothing all year, what if they beat Ohio State with the 2 losses? You're going to put Michigan in as the 4th Big Ten team?
I probably would because at least Michigan, I'll give them credit. They went down to Oklahoma and played a real game on the second weekend of the season. They lost. They didn't look good. They had a brand new quarterback. But I would argue for Michigan as well. Not because they had the most difficult schedule, but they played a Big Ten schedule, which by the way is better than an ACC schedule.
See, now we end on something that we all agree with. I love it. Very good. Thank you, Paul.
You want this, you got that. No way, watch them walk right past you. Run fast while you have the chance. Don't speak, let them look right at you.